Good morning, everyone. It's Weather United here. Puerto Rico is now under a hurricane watch as Tropical Storm Fiona heads that direction. If you like detailed weather updates, smash the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my updates. So here's a look at Tropical Storm Fiona as of September the 17th at about 9:17 in the morning Eastern Daylight Time, and we can see where the deep convection and lightning activity is occurring throughout the storm. All these little white dots that you see do indicate a lot of lightning activity or a lightning strike being detected according to the GOES IR satellite imagery, or actually GOES 16 detecting that, and we have anywhere between 200 to 600 lightning strikes per 10-minute frames on this imagery. This is pretty substantial. That indicates that the system is trying to get better organized. We have Puerto Rico right here, and the system is headed right towards that area. That is going to bring quite a bit of rain, strong winds, and yes, we could be dealing with a hurricane here in the next couple of days. We could also see the explosive deep convection on our mesosector satellite imagery on Fiona, with that deep convection that is just blowing up like pots of boiling water with all that thunderstorm activity near Guadalupe and some of the windward islands there. So yeah, you're still getting quite a bit of rain and strong winds on some of those islands this morning, but Puerto Rico and Hispaniola are all up next. A recon mission flying through the system this morning did find pressures hanging steady at 1,030 millibars, so not much intensification has occurred since last night, with winds that are right around 40 to 50 knots on the northeastern side of the circulation. So the wind field has not gotten stronger, which is good, but that does not mean that it's not intensifying, as what we're trying to see here on satellite is a indication that things are trying to get better organized with Fiona, and Fiona is still expected to possibly become a hurricane by the time it gets very close to Puerto Rico, and that is why there are hurricane watches out as of right now. So looking at the National Hurricane Center here, winds are at 60 miles an hour. It is moving off towards the west at 13 miles an hour, more than likely north of due west at this point. And again, pressures are down to 1,002 millibars according to the derived satellite data and according to the Recon data. Now, as it gets over Hispaniola, it could become a hurricane, so tropical storm warnings and hurricane watches have been issued for that area, with hurricane conditions that are possible on some of the Turks and Caicos Islands on Wednesday. So when we take a look here at our tropical storm force wind probabilities, it has definitely jumped up in a hurry here. So over eastern Hispaniola and the Dominican Republic and the Haitian Peninsula, you have a greater than 70 to 80% chance for tropical storm force winds, with the southwestern portion of Puerto Rico under a better chance of tropical storm force winds at about 70 to 90% in the next 5 days, which literally is going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours in that location. Some of the Turks and Caicos Islands have a fairly high chance of tropical storm force winds. That is 70% chance that is anticipated. Now, we're going to start looking at hurricane wind probability chances, and that's because, again, we're dealing with a hurricane possible in the next 3 to 5 days, according to the National Hurricane Center. So right now, their probabilities are out, and it's a 10% chance for hurricane force winds to the southwest of Puerto Rico and the Turks and Caicos Islands, including the eastern half of the Dominican Republic and the Haitian Peninsula. So, key messages from Tropical Storm Fiona. Tropical storm conditions will continue to affect portions of the Leeward Islands through this morning. Tropical storm conditions will reach the U.S. and British Virgin Islands this morning and spread westward across Puerto Rico later today and tonight. Fiona could be near hurricane strength as it moves near Puerto Rico late tonight and on Sunday, and a hurricane watch there has been issued. Additional watches or warnings could be required later today for portions of the Dominican Republic. Heavy rains from Fiona will spread west to the British and U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico later today, the Dominican Republic Sunday, and the Turks and Caicos Monday night. The rainfall is likely to produce considerable flood impacts, including flash and urban flooding, along with mudslides in areas of higher terrain, particularly those in Puerto Rico. Fiona is expected to strengthen after moving across Hispaniola early next week, and interest in the Turks and Caicos Islands and southeastern Bahamas should continue to monitor the forecast for the storm. Taking a look at the spaghetti track plots on Tropical Storm Fiona, and we can see that they are fairly tightly clustered over Puerto Rico, but then they diverge quite a bit by days 3, 4, and 5, and that is all because of how strong can Fiona get. If the storm is stronger early on, it gains latitude much further and it moves further north sooner than, say, if it's weaker to begin with, it might take longer to turn northward, like what the HMNI model shows. It's a more westerly outlier versus, say, the TABM model that indicates that it could be stronger sooner. Therefore, it is a easterly outlier. So how strong could Tropical Storm Fiona actually get? Well, it looks a lot stronger than previous model runs in the last day or so. So we're better figuring this out. So in about 24 hours, this could possibly become a hurricane or a high-end tropical storm. And then by day 3, we could be looking at a Category 1 to a Category 3, with day 5 it being possibly a major hurricane on literally most of the model guidance. Fortunately, my intensity forecast is much lower than all of these, and I do not expect this to become a major hurricane yet. I only expect this to possibly become a Category 1 with winds up to about 90 miles an hour by day 4 and day 5. Might be a little higher, but I am not going to really announce that just yet in this video. So now we're going to be taking a look at our GFS model run as of September the 17th when it was initialized, and we can see where the system here is by about, say, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, very close to Puerto Rico. It is going to be impacting Puerto Rico as early as tomorrow morning, September 18th, so that's Sunday morning, and we are continuing with some pretty strong winds on the island itself. And when we kind of zoom in, actually we can see moderate to heavy rainfall is impacting those islands, and pressures are down to 980 millibars. Quite a bit of model support of that occurring, in fact, including the European model that I'm about to show you here in a little bit. And it's going to cross Puerto Rico by throughout the day Sunday, and then it's going to be moving offshore. And the good thing here is it's not going to be impacting Hispaniola on this particular run, but there's another run that shows it different otherwise. 60 hours out, 72 hours out, Fiona is able to really intensify in a hurry. By day 4, it is down to 952 millibars with moderate to heavy rainfall. And then you don't see it very well here, but here is Bermuda right on the map, and this could be headed right towards that with a pressure of 947 millibars with moderate to very heavy rainfall by Thursday morning, September the 22nd. The European model is a little bit weaker initially, but it shows nearly the same thing. With pressures at 992 millibars, more a likely scenario here by Sunday morning impacting Puerto Rico. So again, here's a look at the Euro model, and we can see impacting Hispaniola and the Haitian Peninsula by Monday morning. So this is definitely a little further west than what the GFS model shows, and it's because the European model thinks it's going to be a little weaker than what the GFS model thinks. Therefore, it is not as far, it's further west than what the GFS model did show. But it still intensifies it pretty nicely here. By day 4, by Tuesday, it is impacting the Turks and Caicos Islands, and then by, say, in the next several days after that, you can see where it's at on the European model. yeah, 5 days, it's still down here versus the GFS model that had it way up over here, impacting, again, Bermuda clearly on the map. But either way, Fiona is expected to re-strengthen after it passes Puerto Rico or Hispaniola. Whatever landmass it hits, it's expected to recover quite significantly. So now we do have a high-end outlier here. Not really an outlier. It is within most of the intensity prediction models. It is our HWRF model on Fiona. This is a hurricane train specific model that I always like to look at, and I think it's time that we kind of look at this in great detail. So this is in the next 21 hours. This is for early Sunday morning, and we can see that pressures could drop very quickly here. 967 millibars, stronger than the GFS and stronger than the European model, and the ending result is it is, again, slightly further east than what the GFS model showed that made it landfall right here, and the European was even over here. So again, stronger to the storm initially, it means it gains latitude a little faster. But look at all these heavy rain bands over the US and British Virgin Islands. We're talking some very intense rain bands. Also on Puerto Rico in itself, with pressures down to 969 millibars. And then, of course, it tries to intensify a little further, but there's going to be some disruption with the inner core because it's going to be moving over the tall mountains of Puerto Rico and maybe getting close to Hispaniola. But if it misses Hispaniola, this thing is taking off, and we can see it already. The Turks and Caicos Islands right over here on the side of the screen. 952 millibars with an inner core that is trying to form on this model. And then by, say, day 4, it has pressures of 950 millibars, and then getting down to 939 millibars. This does not look like much of a major hurricane at all. Fortunately, it looks very well disrupted with pressures down to 939 millibars in that time frame. So again, a pretty big deal that we're really concerned about after or when it arrives in Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. It has time to really strengthen in a hurry here, and so we'll be watching for that closely, and that's why you need to be staying up to date on this YouTube channel on Weather United. I will have another update on this afternoon. You don't want to miss it. If you found this weather information very helpful, make sure you smash the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future updates. But anyways, I will see you in the next one. Peace.